World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Happy Tuesday. I am so excited to be in this space like always. It's always a pleasure to be here, to share, to inspire, to motivate others to become the best version of themselves. Here on The Bold Show, we have guests who share and talk about their own journey, how they overcome the challenges that they've encountered in their lives, and turn their pain into passion or just their disappointments into something magnificent. And tonight, we have an amazing guest. I'm super excited to introduce this amazing soul. She's an educator, a guidance counselor, and a published author, gaining much attention for her role in providing youths with financial literacy skills. She started working in education since she was 14 years old. Today she's a guidance counselor, and her career started at an alternative school working with at-risk students who were not on track to graduate. In addition to focusing on post-secondary readiness with students, she is extremely passionate about educating youths on the importance of financial literacy. Her passion led to her beginning facilitating financial literacy workshops at Boys and Girls Club. Her outstanding work gave her recognition. She was selected to facilitate and implement financial literacy workshops in an after-school program in high school to combat financial illiteracy, which led to her discovery of the Power to Plan Youth Financial Literacy Program. In her quest to make financial literacy fun and more attractive to youths, she was inspired to create My 12 Envelopes, a quick guide to credit scores, saving, budgeting, and entrepreneurship. Later, she published her first work, the P2P, Power to Plan Student Planner, which was ranked #1 in the academic and counseling career category on Amazon. Help me welcome Erodita Agard Henderson.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. It is such a pleasure to have you here today.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Always a pleasure. Let's just take a moment to like really just center ourselves and just show some gratitude for us to come together to share our experiences so I could learn from you and our viewers can also learn. So, my beautiful soul, why don't you tell the viewers who you are?
Wow, I mean, I don't even know what to add after that introduction. But my name is Erodita. I am a 12th grade school counselor, and I am passionate about promoting youth financial literacy and entrepreneurship.
Awesome. So, I know there is a lot more to you because, as I indicated, you started this career without even realizing what was happening since you were 14 years old. Do tell us.
Yes. So, I always wonder where I would be if I didn't come from a family of educators. So, my mom was in education, and I guess that started because my grandma was in education. So, she was a preschool director, and she was also an adjunct professor as well. So I, am just surrounded by educators. And I remember because my grandmother and my mom worked in, the preschool, I would hang out there after school, and then they had like a teen program. So naturally, because I was already there, I joined the program and I would just hang around all day after school. So my first job, was in a preschool center too, because of the connections that my grandmother had in education. So I guess it was just meant to be.
You said something so powerful just now, and I really hope that our viewers are really tuning in and listening to this. Like you basically said that you were surrounded by educators. So you were molded into this without even realize. I think this is like so important for folks and for everyone to understand that we are such a product of our environment. We are a product of who we're hanging around, and children live what they learn and learn what they live. So kudos to your family. Thank you so much for being here. And it was Mandela who said, education is the most powerful weapon with which you can change the world. So here you are, changing lives, being this amazing soul. Before we even dive into that, tell me, how do you manage all of this? How do you navigate your self doubt, your anxiety? When you get up in the morning, what does that look like?
I think changing my mindset really has helped me navigate life and everything that I have going on. When I wake up in the morning and I'm tired, or, I don't want to go to work or something, I change my mindset from, like, oh my gosh, why do I have to do this, to I get to do this.
Ooh.
Uh, yeah, like I'm just like, I think specifically through COVID, I think I found a new appreciation, for my job too. We were able to work from home while people were, losing their jobs, unemployed, facing eviction. And here I am, had job security and didn't have to worry. And that was truly a blessing. And I just think about sometimes like where I would be if I were in a different profession, if, I didn't have that job security. So I try to accentuate the positive in everything that I do. And that keeps me motivated and keeps me going.
Love it, love it. I hear you say it's basically about staying in gratitude and changing
Mhm.
your mindset, which is so powerful.
Yes.
Folks, listen to this woman, this educator. She's been doing this since she was 14 years old. She's an expert, and she's telling you that this is what works. So I think now we're going to dive into the sauce of why you're here, how you got here, and all of that good stuff. So, as an educator, can you talk to me about some of the challenges that you've experienced and how you were able to navigate your way through this?
Absolutely. I think the challenges I face as an educator, actually just kind of navigated me to this path of, beginning my journey of teaching financial literacy. So many people may not know, but only about 25 states require financial literacy coursework as a prerequisite to graduation in high school. And unfortunately, New York is not one of them. I am a school counselor in New York, and New York is not on the list. So as a 12th grade counselor, well, I had these students since ninth grade, and then my last cohort, I started with 11th grade. I am a strong believer of keeping our kids engaged if they don't want to go home. And I would have kids in my office all day, and literally the bell rings, it's time to go home, and they are still here. And I said, well, what can we do? Instead of you guys just like turning my office into a press and curl shop, right? Let me talk to you guys about financial literacy. And from those small conversations, I realized that they weren't really having the conversations at home, and they didn't really know much about financial literacy. So it went from informal conversations where I would like log into my student loans and let them see my student debt, so that, as they're navigating financial aid packages, they could see, like, me as a counselor, how much debt I had, how much I had to pay monthly. And then it turned a little more formal, where I started putting together curriculum and then started teaching them about financial literacy. And then I started teaching these same workshops at the Boys and Girls Club. And I think my advice is, even when I'm doing something well or something that's positive, I feel like it's never enough. And so I said, well, I'm only reaching this small group of children. Well, what can I do to try to reach more families? And then that's how I first published the student planner. And then I created my savings in 12 envelopes.
Wow. Notice what you just said. You took the chance and you had opportunity and you made it work, right? So there is something about you, because you're like, the kids are always hanging out in your office. You don't normally see that happening, right? And I think also you were placed in that position for a reason, to be honest. I do believe in divine intervention, and like God brought you there for a reason. That's just me, right? But for you to expose yourself and become so vulnerable, like,
Yes.
being so open and showing these kids that, hey, I'm going to normalize debt, what it needs to be in debt, right? Because here I am, I want to create a difference for you, right? So I think I'm going to ask you to also explain to folks who probably don't really understand, because you just said it. And even you and I, we were talking about this backstage, that financial literacy, it's not an everyday conversation in the typical household, right? So explain to us, what is financial literacy?
So I would say financial literacy is just being equipped with the tools required in order to make informed and responsible decisions so that you can have a good relationship with money. And that encompasses many things, right? It encompasses like debt management and budgeting and saving. These are all things that people don't discuss. Just like how I mentioned, I literally logged into my account and let my students see my student debt. Sometimes you ask people like, oh, how much do you have in loans? Like, how much debt do you have? And it's really a taboo conversation, right? Like, people don't have those conversations. And I think that we have to normalize that so that our children will understand, where they are, where they want to be, and where they can be based on those informed decisions, because the relationship that they have with money when they are younger, those same relationships will follow them into their adulthood.
Love it, love it, love it. And, relationships is so key. And I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, and I was literally saying that we need to get back to having foundation within the household, because that is so missing. Because our kids are literally growing up on social media and stuff that's not like really helpful, and that's not pouring into them as an individual. So give us some pointers, like for parents who may be on the threshold of trying to figure out, like, I'm probably just like really frustrated. I can't even deal with this, right? Can you give us a few pointers as to how a parent may be dealing with a teenager who may just be disconnected and probably don't even want to get up to go to school?
So I would certainly say students who are not engaged in school, try to have a conversation with someone who the student may see as like unbiased. I think I'm able to build really good relationships with my students because they kind of see me as an unbiased partner, right? They know that I want the best for them. They know that I will have the difficult conversations with them, but they also know that I'm not necessarily their parent, right? So sometimes it could be someone else in the family to try to get them engaged or get them involved in a program. Like, for instance, my school has a lot of clubs and sports teams after school. I find like pairing a student with someone in the school who they like, someone they can become friends with, or joining like a team or a club certainly helps them become more engaged in school.
Love it, love it. As you mentioned that, what are some of the obstacles you possibly have faced with parents? Because say, for example, like a scenario, you may have a student that's probably failing in school, right? And the parent has to come in for you to give them that counseling. And the parent may have pushback because the parent has her own challenges dealing with and probably is so swamped in debt and just trying to survive. How do you support that parent, or what supports are there available and resources? Because access is a big issue too.
Yes, so access is a really big issue. Sometimes we will refer parents out to obtain resources outside of the school. We also try to have like a phone conference and just meet the parent where they are, right? I've had parents tell me like, hey, I'm a single parent. I can't take off of work to come in and meet with you because then I'm losing money at work. So then that's when I may say like, hey, well, can we jump on a Zoom call? Or, maybe we can meet after school, or we can just have like a phone conference. And then I try to make sure that I'm more available for that student, check in with that student a little bit more, because then I know that, they may not be receiving the support that they should from the parent. And then I'll also tag team my teachers too. I have a great team in my school, from the deans to the teachers. Like, we text each other on the weekends. Like, if they hear something in the classroom, they text me no matter how late it is. I'll check in with them, and we just all work together as a team so that our students feel supported.
Awesome. So I hear you say it's like having a team of supportive individuals who really care about the well-being of students. I also hear about, meeting that parent where they're at, which is all amazing. So now I want us to talk about this Power to Plan Youth Financial Literacy Program. I want to hear all about that. Spill the beans.
Oh my goodness. So you were mentioning before, how can parents start conversations? And I think that is why the My Savings in 12 Envelopes guide is a perfect, way to open up that window of communication with students. So basically, the envelope system is designed to either have a parent open up the conversation, a parent, guardian, aunt, uncle, anyone can have the conversation with a young person, or depending on the age, young people can also navigate the guide on their own. So it has 3 savings templates, 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000. They're not necessarily saving $5,000 or $10,000, right? Or maybe even 1,000. But we want our young people and our families to see how possible it is for you to save $5,000 and $10,000 at some point. And with our $1,000 savings challenge, you just save any amount, it's various amounts, no more than $39 per week, and you can save your first $1,000 in a year. Aside from those 3 savings templates, it has a deposit tracker where you can see how much you're saving, and then 12 sealable envelopes to make saving fun. So in addition to the 12 sealable envelopes, each envelope explores one fundamental financial literacy topic. And basically, that topic should be explored for maybe about 30 days. There's like some questions on the back of the envelopes that they can respond to and research as well. And those topics vary from like, what is a budget, how to create your own budget, how to create an emergency fund, what is an emergency fund, the 50-20-30 budgeting rule, the 5 factors that impact your credit scores, how to manage credit responsibly, how $1,000 purchase becomes $1,600 after interest. That's how the banks make money off of us. That's how you remain in debt. And then topic number 12 is beginning your path to entrepreneurship, because we want to empower our young people to become entrepreneurs, whether, you know, they become full-time entrepreneurs or they just have a side hustle. I would love all of our young people to explore entrepreneurship.
Awesome. So I can't wait because I'm just too excited right now. So I know we were talking about a workshop or a fair that you have coming up. I
Yeah.
believe it's on the 29th of June, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
talk to us about that. And, you know, like when you told me that some of the youths who sign up was from like age 5 upward, and you're telling me about, you know, like what it is, they're like entrepreneurs. Do talk to me about this and tell me how prideful you are.
Yes. So on June 29th, we are hosting the first ever Power to Plan Youth Entrepreneurship Fair from 12 to 3 at the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, on 145th Street in Amsterdam, 521 West 145th Street. If you guys can make it, please do. We have about 23 young people signed up to showcase their businesses to the community. And we would love to have everyone come and support our young people so that they can, you know, be encouraged and see that people actually see value in their businesses. So yes, we have young people from the ages of 5 all the way to 17 with so many different business ideas. We have lip glosses, we have lemonade, we have slime, we have bracelets, we have clothing. I am just so excited and so inspired by our young people because, you know, I started exploring entrepreneurship so much later in life. And I think just giving them a space to showcase their businesses and to connect with people and just to admire how brave they are. Like, I can't imagine being 6 years old, selling lemonade to adults and, you know, like saying, oh, that's what I want to do with my time. And they are doing it. So I just cannot wait to see our little trailblazers. And I hope I can keep it together because every time I think about it, I just start getting emotional.
And you know what? It's okay to be emotional, right? Because like to really think about how much you have invested in these kids, right? And
Yeah.
going back to the bold show, right, is to allow folks to realize it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
You can achieve and accomplish anything that you want in life, but it's the willingness to make that sacrifice, to be dedicated, and to keep pushing yourself, even on days when you feel like you don't want to do it. And this is why I tell folks we all have choices. And every day we wake up, we all have 24 hours in our day. We get to decide how we're going to use those 24 hours, right? So keep on doing what you're doing. You know, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin once said that. And I'm so grateful that as a young person yourself, you've taken on and you have cultivated this and bringing life. You have over 23 little ones, the youths that's coming out to showcase the value of what you taught them. So let's sit in this for a moment. And I want you to acknowledge and to celebrate you. Oftentimes we don't do that. And you know what? Humility is a good virtue to have, but it's also great to take a moment to say, I did this and be okay with it. Even if folks think you're bragging, that's okay. Nellie Rivera says, great information and true. It is excellent information. So, next question for you. We know in today's society here in America, with inflation all over the place, and with most the typical household African American living paycheck to paycheck and can barely make it, right? So, you know, there's this 80-20 rule. I want you to tell us what that is, and also to help folks to realize it is possible, regardless. And how can we achieve that?
Yes, absolutely. So the 80-20 rule basically says that, 80% of your outcome is, basically a product of like 20% of efforts. And it makes me think about I'm not sure if you've ever heard Les Brown's story of the Chinese bamboo tree. I always love to share that with my young entrepreneurs and even adults who just want to navigate life. And basically, Les Brown explains that the Chinese bamboo tree, in order for it to grow, you have to water and, nurture that soil every day for 5 years. If you miss a day, you have to start over. So every day for 5 years, you have to water that bamboo tree and you don't see anything, not a sprout, nothing. That soil looks the same every day. And then literally after 5 years, in 5 weeks, the bamboo tree grows like 90 feet, something crazy like that. And you have to think about it, right? Like while you're watering that soil every day, like you are believing, you are getting up every day, doing what you have to do, and you don't see your efforts, right? You're just like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then literally after 5 years, you see the fruits of your labor. And that is the Chinese bamboo tree. And that is what I live by.
Ah, amazing. And you are so right. Les Brown is my guy. I listen to Les Brown like every morning because when I need that picker up, like I remember like I'm probably butchering exactly what he said, but Les Brown says like when life hits you down, make sure you fall on your back so you could look upwards and you could get up and keep it moving. And
Yeah.
that analogy of the bamboo tree, I think it's like we live in a society with instant gratification where we
Mhm.
want this now, we want this now, we expect it to happen. I like to share. So I ran my first marathon last year. Was
Congratulations.
never a runner, decided this is something I've always wanted to do. Life is always getting in the way, and I decided to finally do it. And I kept thinking about the crossing the finish line. I never really thought about the in between stages. And I
Mm.
say to folks, I trained and ran 758 miles just to run 26
Right.
miles in 5 hours. I, at moments, was like, I don't think this is going to be possible. How am I going to do this? Because in my head, all I thought about, I was going to run a marathon. Okay, yeah, that's it. But it's the training. So it goes back to that sacrifice and that dedication.
Mhm.
And whenever you water that plant, that's the only way you're going to see the growth. You got to keep nurturing. And dirt is so important because without dirt, how would anything grow?
Absolutely.
So awesomeness. I absolutely love that. So for folks, whatever you're going through, I want you to grow through it.
Mm.
Find the lessons because oftentimes we're so focused on what's not working. Going back to what you said initially about living in gratitude. When you live in gratitude, you could focus on the simple things that's actually working as opposed to be distracted to what's not working. So let's continue with this energy and just remember that you absolutely can. So now back to you. If money was not a problem, what and where would you take P2P?
Oh my goodness. Wow. I think honestly, if money was not a problem, I would certainly take P2P worldwide and certainly make sure that all of our young people have a copy of the My 12 envelope savings guide and also the P2P student planner. Just because I feel like whether they have an adult in their life who is willing to sit down with them and go through the information with them, if they could just have the information and explore even just one topic, two topics, they will begin to navigate life in a more informed manner. And that is what we need. Because those conversations are not happening at home, we have to make sure that our young people are informed. And the only way we can do that is by providing them the information. Because without it, when they get online and they get on Instagram and get on Facebook, they may not always navigate to these pages about financial literacy. And honestly, I think that is key. And we need it embedded in our curriculum as well. I would just love to just hire a lot of financial literacy coaches and sprinkle them all across the US, all across the country, all across the world, so that we can just improve financial literacy. And not only for our youth, but for our adults as well.
So I'm going to challenge you, right? It's going to be possible and it's going to happen. Just keep knocking at those doors.
Thank you.
Just keep opening doors and creating the spaces. 5 years from now, 10 years, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. But saving or capturing one life, one youth's life, and changing that narrative about financial literacy is a start. You have 23 youths that signed up, that's coming to your first event.
Yes.
That's a start. Don't give up. I have this imagination, and oftentimes my goals that I have for myself, they shock the hell out of me. And if your goals are not shocking you, then you have a problem. So I want you to remember today, June 11th, this is your start to impacting worldwide, and it's going to happen. Please reach out to me and let me know, and I'll be here to cheer you on. It's our mind. So if you could think it, it can happen.
Thank you.
Okay, just keep believing, just keep believing. What would you say is your greatest lesson that you have learned?
My greatest lesson. Wow. I would say, I think my greatest lesson is probably treating life like that Chinese bamboo tree. I think when I was younger and when faced with challenges and adversity, sometimes it's easy to doubt. It's easy to say, oh, this is not going to work out. I can't do this right now. I think waiting is my biggest lesson, because even with this business and with becoming a self-published author, it was always something I wanted to do. But I just always said, like, oh, where am I going to find a graphic designer? Like, who's going to publish this book for me? And, then it was the challenges of when I started to get the ball rolling, I couldn't get a literary agent. And, finally I just said, I'm going to self-publish this. And I did it, and I made it work. And I even created my own website. And people who know me know that I am not tech savvy at all. So that was a great accomplishment for me. And I just look back and say to myself, all this time I was just waiting and saying, like, oh, I can't do this. I need to find someone to help me with this. And I did it myself.
Look at that. You get out of your head and you stop, because like we're our worst critic and we're our worst enemies, and we talk ourselves down, right? It's about that self-talk. What is it that you're telling yourself? And like I often tell people, our thoughts affect our behaviors. Whatever it is that you're thinking, then you're going to act it. So again, like you said, you changed your mindset. So with that being said, and sitting here, the woman you are today, and with all the wisdom and the knowledge that you have, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh my goodness, my younger self, I would certainly tell young Erodita to begin exploring entrepreneurship at a much younger age, and to just take the leap instead of waiting.
I love that. Take the leap instead of waiting.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so for our young folks out there, and for others who will view this live, this interview, this conversation, what are some of the tips that you would give folks who are probably sitting around on great ideas, but like you, telling themselves, where am I going to find this? Because the lack of resources becomes a barrier for most entrepreneurs, right? So what are some tips would you give to folks?
I would say to just compartmentalize everything. Figure out what you want to do. And instead of approaching it as, I don't know how I can do this, I want you to approach it as, how am I going to get this done? Because not getting it done is no longer an option. So if you write out your goals, you write out your dreams, you write out your plans, and you just simply take away all the barriers by figuring out exactly how you're going to get it done and write daily steps. Literally every day I do something for my business, whether it's a call or an email. And once you get kind of moving, you kind of just flow into things, because when I say to myself, oh, I'm going to make sure I send at least one email and make at least one call, that one email turns into two, because now I'm moving, I'm in the flow of things, and I like sharing information. So it's just like getting up out of bed in the morning when you have to go to school or you go to work. The most difficult part is getting up out of bed, because then the second you get up and you put your feet on the ground, you have to brush your teeth, then you get dressed, then you leave the house, then you get to your destination. It's always just that first step that you have to take.
Just keep going, whatever it is that you do. And just also to add to that, I think it's like so important, going back to what you said about a plan. So every night before I go to bed, it's like a ritual, a routine for me. I plan my outfit for my running in the morning for training, and everything is organized. So when I wake up in the morning, I am super excited because I have a plan. And I know if I hit my internal snooze button, because I never use an alarm clock, I internally just wake up, right? I know I'm going to set myself back. So I know I have to get up at that point in time. So I'm super excited. So I guess it's also, to add to what you're saying, is to also hold yourself accountable.
Yes, absolutely.
And stop procrastinating. The time is now. Do it when you can. So back to financial literacy, right? Um, I want to capture the hearts of our parents who are, is so much hopelessness in our society today. And we also understand how poverty is the driving force to this as well. Can you probably provide some words of hope, some words of inspiration to parents who are just like, you know what, I don't even know where I'm going to find my next meal for my kids tomorrow? What are some words of wisdom you would share to them?
I think that my words of wisdom would be to first know that you are doing your best, and your best is good enough, even if you can do more. And I would say, if you are not financially literate as a parent or a guardian, make sure that you break that cycle. The onus is on you to break that cycle, right? And you can do that by becoming financially literate yourself. And then you can pass that on to your child. And you can also learn together. It doesn't have to be something where, oh yeah, I know everything, and I'm going to teach this to you. It could be like, hey, you know what? Let's learn this together. Every day we're going to set a goal to explore financial literacy for even just 5 minutes a day. Can change a child's life and can change an adult's life too. But just changing just something about the daily routine. And if you can't do it every day, once a week, maybe identify one day out the week where you and your family will just explore financial literacy. And you can do it together. There's information online. Of course, like, you want to make sure it's like good information, right? Like, not information that's just like coming from anywhere, but you can do it together, and it can become a project, and it can even bring your family closer.
Awesome, awesome. Next question for you. By any chance, because I don't know what your bandwidth looks like and how, because you've talked about making finances fun, right? And this is what you do on an everyday basis, just trying to see how you could spread this wealth of information that you have, because information is key, and also to help other parents who are struggling to help navigate this. What are some tangible ways that you could think about? And I'm putting you on the spot right now. You could really engage parents and children to like really want to have this conversation. Because, like you said, it is such a taboo. Like you were so bold and brave to say, well, here is my student loan debt. Because that's something that parents don't know, they're not comfortable. How can you get them to that point where they're uncomfortable until they're comfortable? What are some thoughts?
So honestly, I would really say going back to maybe some online resources or even the My Savings in 12 Envelopes guide, because you can explore those fundamental financial literacy topics and take them one by one, where you are either learning them together or it gives you an idea of what to explore with your child. Just basically like breaking down simple concepts and, again, making it fun, making saving fun. And for me personally, I was always a visual learner. So if you have a child who is a visual learner, maybe you guys can create your own savings challenge, or you can attempt the savings challenge that's in the guide together, so that you are now saving together, right? You can seal the envelopes, and then at the end of each month or at the end of every 2 months, you go to the bank and you deposit that money, so that now your child sees, the fruits of their labor, them saving the money, and then creating a budget from that money, so that they see, okay, you're saving the money, but you also get to enjoy your money, so that they can develop that good relationship with money management.
Awesome. So we know teenagers and youths, they like to be in the most expensive sneakers, right? And the girls, they have to have their nails done, the lashes, and keep up with the Joneses. That sort of lifestyle. How do you have these conversations with youths who you interact with on a daily basis? Because, having priorities, because that's like a big deal. Like, how do you help your youths to realize the importance of saving?
Yes. So I think I try to, when I facilitate workshops, I know that, these organizations and these facilities are hiring me to actually implement and help to change these students' lives, right? So I try to connect with them and make sure that I kind of like give them examples that they can connect with. So, for instance, when I have young people who are working, and if you are making only like $15 an hour, I say to them, okay, well, you like designer clothes, right? Most of them say yes. And then I say, okay, well, how much is that shirt that you like? $100. Okay. So if you're only making $15 an hour, that's roughly, how many hours do you have to work now for that one t-shirt? And you see the light bulb go off in their head. It's like, oh, wait,
Didn't think of it
yeah,
that
I'm
way.
not trying to do that anymore, because they see, like, if you're working at Starbucks, you're working 6, 7 hours for the cost of one t-shirt. Is that really what you want to do? And then almost immediately they're just like, okay, I don't really see the value in that anymore. And I also, again, many adults don't like to use their own personal examples, but for me, it works for me. And I have always had a problem with Amazon Prime. And so I told them, I didn't stop shopping on Amazon altogether, right? But I removed my credit card off of Amazon, so that I wasn't just so inclined to just purchase everything that I thought about. Now, when I have to go back and add my card and log in every time and punch in all the numbers, now I'm thinking twice, like, okay, do I really just like need this cute stapler? Like, probably not, right? Because I don't want to punch in my cards for that. But I let them know that, budgeting and saving, it is an ongoing process where you just have to kind of evaluate how you can change your actions in order to still save.
Ah, I love that example of Amazon Prime, right? And I think it's like our vulnerability is our strength, but oftentimes we don't realize that. And I
Mhm.
think our youths and just people in general, it's about being transparent and having those difficult conversations, right? Because, like, we were once young, we made mistakes, we're not perfect, we mess up. So why not use that as an example to say, hey, this is where mommy was, and these are the mistakes mom made, but now look at mommy. right? So that and it's also a way to build bridge and to have that connection, because,
Absolutely.
and again, it really goes back to having that foundation. Now, all of this great stuff that you're talking about, and you mentioned it earlier that New York State is one of those cities that's not listed, that financial literacy should be a component or of the core curriculum for graduates, right?
Yes.
Dream for me. Let's dream for a minute. And I think sometimes we don't really think about the policy and how to drive that change. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts about taking that up at some point?
So, I have already,
Oh,
had a conversation. I did have a conversation, with some policymakers about,
mhm,
where to go, how to tackle that.
mhm,
And, I think like this summer, I want to look into it a little more
mhm,
because I feel like, we unfortunately are doing our students a disservice by not incorporating that into our
mhm.
curriculum. I know some schools do. So my school does have a financial literacy course, thankfully, but there are many schools in New York that do not. And it's not like I only care about my kids. I care about all of our students in New York. So I do think that it is something that needs to be a requirement. And if anyone has any information about where I can go, where I can start that journey, I am ready.
Ah, love it, love it, love it. We can create change, right? It's just like you got to start somewhere, right? We're going to live our life as if we're going to die tomorrow, but we're going to learn as if we're going to live forever. That was Gandhi. And, I think with the passion, the energy, and the zest that you have for this work, it didn't just come and happen overnight. You were made for this. So you got
Oh,
to just like push yourself, and, you know, this is so needed.
thank
This is a
you.
conversation that we need to have, where it's like a daily prayer, because it's about creating and normalizing that this is what we need to do. Right?
Absolutely.
So tell me about the legacy that you want to leave behind when you're no longer with us.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I just want to be remembered as someone who was able to change lives through, what was passed to me from my mom. And her legacy lives through me. And I'm just so fortunate to have had her to teach me, about financial literacy. And I hope that I can just continue to impact our young people and encourage them to become, financially literate and entrepreneurs as well.
Awesome. Thank you, mommy. And thanks to your family. I really have to extend this gratitude because it's really important, right? And also, I want to lift you up because you did this, because it was a choice. You didn't have to step into this role. Even though you started on this journey, you could have said, you know what, this is not something I wanted to do. But you also saw the importance of this, right? Um,
Mhm.
can you share some additional words of hope to our viewers, because it can't be enough?
Additional words of hope. Well, I would just say don't let anyone dim your light. Don't let
Mm,
anyone tell you you can't do something. And don't ever think that you can't do something based on what others around you have
mm,
not been able to accomplish. Because I feel like sometimes, we can say, like, oh, that's never worked for anyone before. But look at all the things that we have. Look at the cell phone. Look at the laptop that we're on right now, desktops, computers. Look at this streaming service that we're on. None of this existed at one point. And it just took one person. And of course, like, as things evolved, it was a team of people, right? But there's always that one person who was the dreamer to say, I want this to happen. And they made it happen. And that could be any of you at any moment in life.
ah, Love it, love it, love it. So Power to Plan Student Planner. It was named, or it was ranked number one on the academic and counseling category on Amazon. So here
Yes.
you are, this woman who was like coming up with all of these excuses as to why I can't do it. So you are definitely showing us that this is all possible. So we have a few minutes and I'm going to just like ask you some quick question. What's your favorite color and why?
So my favorite color is red. My birthday happens to be on Valentine's Day. I'm not sure if that's why, if I was just like kind of drawn to it. My mom always had me in red for my birthday growing up, but definitely favorite color is red.
Red is also a bold color and and a
Oh,
color of power, which you
yeah.
already have, right?
Oh, thank
If you
you.
had 24 hours to live, what would you do with your 24 hours?
Oh my goodness. If I had 24 hours to live, geez, I would probably, I would definitely schedule time to just like see all of my closest family and friends. And then I think like I would just start designating like tasks that I need each of them to complete, like things that I didn't get done, things that I want them to carry on, like to continue the work that I'm doing and to impact the lives of our young people. I would probably like clear out my bank accounts and designate some of that money to like certain charities, and of course a certain amount to like certain people to just make sure that they're okay. But I wouldn't want that money to go into probate. Oh
Love
yeah.
it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh my God, this is just so interesting. What's your favorite food?
Oh my goodness. My favorite food is probably, I love chicken parm. It's a toss up between chicken parm and maybe like hot wings sometimes.
Okay. When was your last vacation?
My last vacation was actually to, where did we go last? I feel like it's all a blur. Like I always mix things up. But oh, my last vacation was actually to Mexico. My
Nice.
husband treated us to like an anniversary trip, and his mom actually came along too. And although unconventional by most, we had an amazing time. Best, we've been to Mexico 3 or 4 times already, and that was by far the best trip.
Ah, love it, love it. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, how do you stay this calm and poised?
Oh, I think it's just because I am for the first, not for the first time, I don't want to say that, but in a long time, I think so. I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. And I
Okay.
think this is the first business that I've had that has gained traction, and I've had such a great response from the community, and
Mm.
seeing how much the community sees the value in my work and people see the value in this work, it's just been so fulfilling for me. I started so many other businesses before. I was like a loan signing agent, I'm a notary, I'm a real
Mm.
estate agent, and like all these things kind of just like I just did it because I wanted to do something, and it was interesting. It was certainly fun. Like I love being a loan signing agent, but this is just different. I love interacting with young people and meeting young people all over New Jersey and all over New York, and just getting contracts from these different organizations and being referred to other agencies because of the work that I'm doing. It's just such a good feeling to know that they want my services because they see that it's valuable.
The community sees the value in what you have to offer. And that
Yes,
is so important. So
yes,
every other businesses that you tried, you needed to go through that to get to here because
yes,
you learned lessons along the way that equipped you to be this phenomenal woman you are today and this leader that you are. So I want you to like really absorb that. And that is so powerful what you shared just now, because all along we've been talking about never giving up and never
Yeah.
stopping. I didn't know all of this, but then you disclosed all of this, right? And this is what folks need to understand. You were a loan signer, a notary public, real estate agent, you're a guidance counselor, and the list goes on, right? But everything, they're all connected.
Mhm.
And it's molded you and shaped you
Yes.
into this at this point. Because oftentimes, when we are doing these businesses, sometimes when there's not passion, and also when we did not like really do that needs based to assess to see what community wanted, you're starting a business based on what you think community needs. It's not going to work out.
Right.
So you did it the right way, and that's okay. So please tell us again about the event that you have coming up, and please tell people where they could find you.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for your feedback. I really appreciate that. So our first ever Power to Plan Youth Entrepreneurship Fair is going to be on June 29th at the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, 521 West 145th Street. And we will have about 23 young people showcasing their businesses to the public. So we would love and appreciate if you come down. And if you can't come down, please send someone down in your space to support our young people. If you forget the address or you need more information or you would like to contact me, you can visit me at www.power2plan.com. So that's POWER2plan.com.
Awesome. I love it, right? So finish the statement. Erodita is.
Erodita is a trailblazer.
I love it. I love it. And any final thoughts before we go?
I just want to thank you for providing this space to give me an opportunity to not only talk about my fair and the work that I'm doing, but also just to, encourage women like me and, just to keep going and to know that there are people who see value in what we're doing. And I also want to give kudos to you too for taking the time out to be a host and training and reaching your goals, because again, some people say, oh, I want to run a marathon, and it still has never happened, but you did it. So congratulations.
We can do it. We could do whatever we want to do. We just have to decide and then act on it. Thank you so much. I've learned so much about you, and you have poured into us tonight, and we're forever grateful. We're walking away with so much knowledge, right? So much wisdom, the gems you dropped in here tonight. I can't begin to thank you enough, and also for connecting with our youths.
Thank you
That is
so
important.
much.
The youths, they are our men and women of tomorrow. And if we're not investing in them, then what's the point? So be awesome, continue to live in gratitude, and whenever in doubt, just keep going. Don't give up. And I'm going to come see you at that event on the 29th, because just sitting here and just listening to all that you have to offer, I have to build it in my schedule. So again, thank you so much. And to all of our loyal viewers, I want to say thank you. And also thank you to Matt, Soul City, for creating this space. And you all be awesome. Until next time, take care.
Good night. Thank you so much.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.